Really quickly before we get started, I thought we'd take a moment of silence, or not really silence, but just a moment for Miss Shelley Duvall, who just passed away yesterday at 75 in her sleep. So rest in peace, rest easy, Shelley. We love you. I've always, been enamored by her and her performances. So it's very sad to hear. And I know that she was just going to be in a movie with Felissa Rose. And so, um, it's sad to hear that, of her passing. I know that she lived in Texas, right, Mikey? So, yeah. So, it was a very, very dark week here in the horror community. So, Shelley, thank you for everything you've done. I feel like, this is the second time that we've had to rest in peace someone because we just lost Donald Sutherland as well. And
It's the
so,
third time because before that was the guy from Friday the 13th, final
oh
chapter.
yeah, yeah. So it's very sad. I think that one of the hardest parts about especially horror in general, we're so invested in these things, but when we talk about classic horror, not just the universal monsters, but like horror from like the 70s and 80s, all of our favorite actors, directors, writers are all getting up there. And so, we're getting to that point now where we're going to see a lot of our favorite people going. And she's a great performer, and we shall miss you dearly.
1, 2, 3, 4.
This is Slashers, your new favorite podcast about your new and old favorite horror media. My name is Aid, and with me, as always, are my esteemed colleagues, co-hosts, and cohorts. We have my boo boo Mikey.
Hi.
We have our Lancey Poo.
Hello.
And of course, joining us today for our Justice July in lieu of Jason, we have Yajaira, Doug's lovely and beautiful wife. Yajaira, say hello to the mutant goons from beyond.
Hello, everybody.
There we go. I was really excited when Yahaira decided to pick Maxxxine because I go, what better way to choose a new film, especially one that I think, was very highly anticipated. It's coming off
Mhm.
the third leg. We had X, and then we had its prequel Pearl, and now we have Maxine and all of the main women characters that are played by Mia Goth. Obviously, we have Maxine as Mia Goth, and then Pearl is Mia Goth as well. So she also plays the old lady in X, which I didn't realize until recently. I was like, oh my god, ugh. So because that's really cringy. Like X is like I would say that all three of these films are just all so different in their own right, but I was reading somewhere that you can watch them without having seen the others, so each of them can stand alone, but they all complement each other, which I think is nice. And
Yeah.
so I don't really know if I agree with Ty West when he says that because I think that you kind of need to see X in order to understand what's happening in Maxine because I think a lot of the story that drives Maxine is because she got away in X, right? And of course Kevin Bacon is being a little scoundrel that he is, and legitimately running after her in Hollywood. And so, which I thought was a nice little touch. So let's go around the room really quick. I want to start with Yahira. What was your favorite scene in Maxine?
Spoilers,
We just
folks.
like, but I didn't even ask you, Yahira, if you even liked the film, so I have no idea.
First of all, I did enjoy the film. I enjoy it even more than X.
Mhm.
Even though a lot of people are saying that X is better and this one sucks. I personally like it way more than actually X. Because you get to see that character in a different perspective and you get to see it in better depth, more than actually in X. And my favorite scene, or one of the scenes that I found creepy, was when they put the mold on her to make like her head, and she started having all these flashbacks of the old
Yeah.
lady and ex. And because you can tell she was traumatized by that incident, and so she was having a panic attack at that time when the mold was going on, and she imagined the whole thing, and then she fell down in her like in the back and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
I thought it was a really good scene. To me, at least, it was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, this is great.
My favorite scene of Maxine was when she's at the stoplight and Kevin Bacon comes behind her and she gets out of the car and he's like about to start his like sarcastic monologue, but she just starts like beating the shit out of him before he could even say it. I was like, that's how we That's how we get it done, those of us with mental illness.
I mean, I feel bad, but like I love the part where you rarely see anybody get their neck cut from behind at the video store, or her friend at the video store uh got cut from behind, because like you're expecting that the normal shock scare where he turns around, but the fact that the person in particular didn't even wait and just slit from behind, like I was like, oh man, like you never see that. That's like a really cool, because like it usually you get the graphic, I turned around and then the shock face, but the fact that they got the back of the neck and then they did the like kind of like across the eye. Oh man, this is cool. Somebody just has a vendetta against her, but like is just trying to kill the surrounding people. They're willing to do more than just what they got the detective, Kevin Bacon's character, to do. And I kind of like that, because it was a show sign of, okay, this person's willing. Because even he says it after this, it's done, when the guy goes, hey, you're willing to go the extra distance for your vendetta or whatever it is. And I thought that was a really pinnacle scene in the sense of the other character within the movie. And I was like, all right. So we have somebody who doesn't just shun people else to go do their dirty work. It's someone who's willing to do it themselves. And I thought that was kind of a really cool scene.
Well, so Lance likes it when gay people get killed. But in addition to
There's no
that,
proof in
I
that
will.
pudding.
I'm just saying what I heard. But I will say the gay guy in this movie was really cool, because I was like, oh look, finally a gay person that's just like me, obsessed with movies, and really attractive. So I thought it was a nice portrayal of, because every psycho girl deserves her gay best friend, and it's not like a Will and Grace best friend. It's like, oh, he's actually like different. He's not the typical like, hey girl. So I really liked him. Lance apparently didn't. That was fine.
It's funny you mention it, because actually I really liked the character and I got really sad when he died.
Yeah.
No, same.
But to be honest, I didn't know he was gay.
Well, yeah, that's why she had more of
Because
like a.
because in that part when like she's asking him like some questions about the tape or whatever. Oh no, before that, when she was gonna leave to his she was trying to leave to her other job where she gets like where she dances and stuff or whatever, and she was talking to him. She says, oh, I like you. She's like, that's why I like you. And then she left, right? And then he's like, yeah, because I'm the only man who doesn't want to try to fuck you. That's
Yeah.
what he says. But I never thought that he was gay. Like the whole movie, I never thought he was gay until you mentioned it. Like I just thought he was just a good friend. I just didn't have those type of intentions, because not every single man wants to have sex with you. But that was just my thought, until you just said that. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't even thought it for 1 second he was
Well, even
gay or not.
when the old man goes to the video store and like
Well, no,
propositions
the
him for sex,
SMS.
SMS, text messaging.
Yeah, no, I meant S&M, the S&M outfit. But he's in the dominatrix outfit. Like it's like,
Yeah.
you're like, oh.
So yeah, and it's funny because I was like, he's such a good friend, because when she left the videotape with him and she knows he's not supposed to look at it, I would have looked at it when she left.
I know.
Oh, I was shocked by that.
Yeah, she makes a whole big ass stink that you can't look at it, but then she didn't take it with her, right? So I'm like, you're gone. I'm gonna totally watch this. However,
He was a really good friend though, but go ahead.
Yeah.
He was, and it was very sad that he left. And like Yajaira, I didn't realize he was gay. Until there was something that he had said at some point in the movie. I realized he was, and it wasn't that part where he didn't want to fuck her. Like I felt the same way. Like, oh, okay, maybe he's just her friend. Like, you know, obviously, we have male friends in our lives that I assume don't want to do those things, right? But then
I
he
don't,
kind
but
of,
I'll try to
well,
understand
yeah.
with you what you're saying.
Well, whatever. Anyways, but I thought it was funny because there was something that he said, and I don't know what he said, but it was how he said it. I was like, oh, he's gay. I get it. Okay. Because I'm like, obviously she has him sleeping over at the house,
They're cuddling.
they're cuddling and stuff like that. But
the last thing I'll say about it though is I really think his character was good for the film, just because it did show her most humane side.
Yeah.
Because when
100%.
she sees his body, that's the first time you actually see her care about someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she gets extremely upset when that happened.
exactly. And unfortunately she finally gets her big break here. And But even before that, I think it was really good. And one of you had mentioned it, I think yesterday, that this was a scene that we didn't need, but I think we did need the scene. But my scene that I thought that was one of my favorite scenes in the beginning of the film, and I think we all know where I'm going,
Oh God,
is
here it
the
is.
part, thank you, is the part where the guy is stalking her in the alleyway and
Oh, I
she
love that.
obviously stomps his balls
It's a
into
great scene. It's just had nothing really to do with the story.
Yes,
it.
it
See,
did. It
yes, it
shows
did.
her growth of what she went through and how she handles a situation like that. Because you think one man in an alleyway is going to scare her when she has a gun and she just got done living the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, literally. Like
Hmm.
it was important, Lance. Also, when that happened, all the men screamed, and one of my friend's wife was with us, and she looks at everybody. She's like, "Y'all okay?" And I was like, "I'm fine. He deserved it." So
Yeah, I know. That was the first thing I said after that happened. I'm like, good for her.
yeah.
I was
So,
laughing at that scene because I thought it was hilarious.
Oh
yeah,
no, it was great. It's a great scene. I just didn't like. There's other ways of doing that, but I get it. Whatever.
Yeah.
I know. Your fragile masculinity
I
was put
It's
on the
know.
not a
spot
fragile ass
here.
masculinity thing.
We'll
I
It's
file
just
that
mean,
away
mostly.
with you and your I need a straight month pride also. So we'll talk about that later.
I've never said that. I have never said that. Mikey's always throwing these out at me, and you know what? It's always gonna start believing this stuff, and then like someone's gonna be like, "What?"
It ties into the Kevin Bacon scene that I really liked, and one of the themes that I really enjoyed, which comes into my only complaint about this movie, which we'll talk about later. But the whole movie is displaying just that she's ruthless. And not like in a
mhm.
Mhm.
stupid MTV or Real Housewives ruthless. Like, no, she's very much act now, I'll answer questions later. And so like I really liked that. One thing that stuck with me, it was runner up of my favorite scene, but it was more of a line is because even the director tells her that she needs to be ruthless. Is she ruthless? She's like yes. For some reason that scene stayed with me, but then you start seeing these scenes of her doing stuff like that and you're like okay, she kind of is. But when the cops keep telling her that they need her help because well, there's going to be another body, there's going to be another body, there's going to be another girl, and she was like they need to save themselves like I did. And I was like that's
Yeah,
cunty, but also, I mean, granted, maybe if people were dying, I'd help out, but like, I forgot who I was telling this to, but there's certain situations where people are like, "You've been through this. Can you talk to this person about it?" It's happened twice, and I was like, "No, like, you need to find your own journey."
But
yeah,
it's good. That's good on her end though. She legitimate. Like I understand that the fact of what she's saying, and she's like, yo, I got through that shit. You can get. I mean, because everybody has a different perspective of a situation. You know what I mean? Like I think people should be stronger because I can deal with it, and I think that's where her mindset is. I mean, obviously later on she kind of has a little back on that where she's like, all right, maybe I do
'cause-
need to help
Well,
somebody.
because it involved
yeah,
her
Yeah,
directly.
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And the thing is too is like there are snippets of her kind of coming to terms with who she wants to be because while she knows she needs to be ruthless to get what she wants, there are snippets of time where you see that she does care, like when she sees her friend on the dead.
The movie does a great example of really like how Hollywood is. Like not
Mm-hmm.
only the Hollywood of the past and the 80s, but the Hollywood of now. Like the fact that these girls went to this party was because they feel like they can make it out there.
Mhm.
And that's what's happening and what is still happening. There's tons of women and men who want to do their shot, who they want to meet these big people because they want to get it out there. So these things were so like real. When I watched it, I was like, yeah, well, this is still happening. It's so real in many ways. That's why people go to these type of events or they get too excited about it, and it will be
Yeah.
easy to just murder them because I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, they're not
Oh,
looking at
yeah.
it at face value. They're looking at it as an opportunity, but also, you don't know who these people are. And specifically, I think it's probably one of the creepiest moments in the film is when Maxine gets in that little weird ass elevator thing. And I'm thinking to myself, if you're going there to a party and you have to get into this like thing,
Yeah.
and
It's
that's
like, where are we
really the
going?
only way.
Jurassic Park?
Exactly.
Like
Like,
it was like a Charlie too. When she had to like pull the little lever, I was like, what is going on here? You have to go
yeah,
extra out of your way to get to this thing. Don't go.
well, that's what I'm saying because if it's that difficult just to get there, how difficult would it be to leave, right? And so,
yeah.
I don't know. I've never been I mean, obviously, Mikey had us staying in a very quaint bed and breakfast over on Sunset Boulevard. And when I say bed
Mhm.
and breakfast, I mean all of the tents outside were having breakfast, I
Breakfast was
think.
meth.
Yeah.
I
So it
just
was,
the
yeah.
guy that offered or asked you for was it a cigarette or like you if you wanted to
Or,
smoke with him?
He asked him if I wanted to smoke in his room. And
Yeah,
his room had meth in it.
yeah.
yeah.
Oh my
So,
god.
I
anyways,
said,
we stayed
yeah.
there, but it was
Of course
nice
you did.
because right behind us was the Hollywood sign, right? And I hadn't.
I still feel really sad that you guys did that.
Yeah.
So back in the day, people could actually climb. So those stairs you see when they do the drone shot and you see that whole sign, that's actually real. Like there used to be like all that is true. Like nobody can go now because it's all gated and it has tension, so nobody can climb it or do anything. But back in the day, people could go up the stairs and just be by the letters. The problem was like a lot of people were suiciding themselves from there. So they were climbing the letters and killing themselves. And then also there was a lot of murders and a lot of different things that happened there. So they closed it down. So actually there is like a huge ass gate now that it will close the whole section so you can't go. And I was surprised that they actually opened it up just for the scenes. There is no house there though. So that had it to be either in a
That's what I was
lot
gonna say.
to film that. So the house has to be in a lot, and then the little thing that goes up, the little thing where she pulls the lever or whatever,
Yeah.
that's actually
Yeah.
the Angel's flight in downtown LA. So they film her doing that and then go the Angel's flight, and then after that they put her in the house, and then they film
Nice.
the
Yeah.
night of the sign. I realized that when I was watching it, I was like, oh no, this is the Angel's flight, and this is actually the real stairs from the Hollywood sign, but there's not like
Yeah.
Yeah.
mansion there or
Movie
anything like
magic.
it.
Speaking of movie magic, we also spend a good amount of time in the Psycho house. And where is it?
Is that house still there on the lot? Like you can still go to the
Yes,
tours?
yes. So
Okay.
everything you see in the lot is still there. Every single area there.
The Alamo was there.
Yes. So all you see there is real. So that's why when I was watching it, I told Doug, it's like, oh, this is so funny. It's like when you go
Yeah.
to Universal Studios, you get to see all that.
Did y'all have any
God.
theories of what was going on? Because I had one that wasn't one of them was correct. The other one was not correct. And I was like, that would have been kind of interesting. My theory that I had that wasn't the real one. You keep seeing the protesters, and there's a guy who keeps holding a sign that says the devil took my daughter, and he was Hispanic. And I thought the whole time that was Jenna Ortega's dad, and he would blame Maxxine because also she did porn, so the devil took his daughter. And I thought it was going to be Jenna
Yes.
Ortega's dad, but no, it was just a henchman of the real person.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because there was a picture on his shirt and I thought that was Jenny Ortega.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it had something to do with her
Yeah.
too.
I was
for like
like,
a second.
he's
And then I-
involved, or this extra is not listening and keeps staring at the camera. One of the two is happening.
Yeah, I like your theory, Mikey, because I really thought that I had a thought for a second too of that guy when it has that like the devil took my daughter or whatever. I also thought when she goes and meets the dad, and the dad is like, I'm making a movie, and he shows it when he filmed where all these protesters were going on. For a moment, I thought that he was doing that. Like he
Yeah.
was actually putting people there to protest against the Puritan too. And to have that guy pretending to be her dad, to saying that the devil took my daughter,
Yeah.
Oh, like it was like a
Yeah,
conspiracy. Yeah.
yeah. So I thought for a second about it, and I was like, okay, it might have been like that, or it might have not been like that at all. And this was just protesters because they just didn't like that movie.
Lance, any theories?
I'd
No,
love to
I
hear
was
this.
pretty sure, I was pretty sure it was the dad or someone in her family, because the fact that they started off the film literally with that childhood video, like
Yeah.
like you just started right off the bat with that, and I was kind of like in my brain was like, all right, well, it's obviously someone of her, maybe her Christian flock, or someone in her church, or someone in her dad's church, or someone like that, like wanted to be her, but the father never gave her the same love. I thought maybe it'd be like a stepsister or something of that sense. That's kind of where I thought that was going. But then when you saw the guy, I was like, oh, it's her dad.
I really thought that this was going to end like on an American Mary note where she dies, like she ends up getting killed, like, and then that's that. Like, I really did think that I didn't think that Maxine was going to make it. There's so many wonderful little small snippets and elements to this film. So even if it's not your favorite of the three, I think there's a lot to enjoy, a lot to feel nostalgic about the music itself, right? And I know, Yahaira, I know you grew up in Peru, but like, I mean, I don't like, does this resonate with you at all as far as,
Oh yeah,
how
all
this,
the music was perfect. Yeah, it was. I was like, yeah, the music makes it even better.
yeah,
So,
and so, I personally I enjoyed this one. I think X is great too. I mean, they're all great. Like, I mean, Ty West really outdid himself with this, and I know that he's looking at actually doing a fourth. I don't think we need a fourth.
Well, I think it's great. To me, it only had one flaw, and it's that Maxine had to be saved. The whole movie, she was one woman army, but
Yeah.
when the cops had to come in when she was tied up, I was like, no, we should have just made her be more. Keep that theme of being self-sufficient.
Thank you so much for joining us this month because, Jason's still in the show, everybody, but I know that he's been having, he's been having a lot of things going on. And so, Yahaira stepped in and chose Maxine. And I thought, what a great way to do that because the film just did come out. And I think that it was an exceptional installment to what otherwise could have been a huge flop. We also have bi-weekly video reviews of all things horror nerd at the comic shop. A YouTube exclusive, so make sure you subscribe. We just had Joe from Much Ado About Nerding on the last episode, right, gentlemen? So Mikey got very excited. I saw the little smirk. Anyways, for Patreon, if you'd like to access monthly exclusive reviews and some sweet perks, find us at patreon.com/slasherspod. If you're the kind who likes to wear your support, you can find our Redbubble shop and our new designs at slasherspod.redbubble.com. If you'd like to follow us for free, do so on Instagram at SlashersPod or Mutant Goons from Beyond. And if you want to complain directly and tell one of us how wrong we are, not me, you can find us individually at Yajaira at Yahi45. Yajaira also does her Saturday Night Terrors for B Movie TV, so make sure you check that out on Roku. Follow me at Pathologically ADE. You can follow Mikey at Horror in a Half Shell, not Ho in a Half Shell, even though I think you should change it. Lance at Zombie vs Hate, Doug at Doug Bizarro, and if Facebook is more your style, you can catch us on the Facebook group for Mutant Goons from Beyond. Please support B Movie TV as well and catch Doug on Friday Night Actions, Yahaira on Saturday Night Terrors.
It's not coming out today, Lance.
Sir, would you like to take over?
No.
I can't wait for your next time when you have to do this.
Thank you. Okay. Only on Roku, so make sure you guys check that out. B Movie TV. And also Doug has a new trailer out for Death Bitch. Kenny's Brewer's next film, starring many prolific B Movie TV people, right? So that should be a lot of fun. I know Doug's worked really hard on that, so we're really excited about that for him. But as always, we rely on the support of our listeners. We want to give a special shout out to our amazing Patreon members. We have Josh Gunn, Austin Proctor, which I believe Austin on his show Friday Night. Why was I going to say Friday Night Action?
Frightmares.
No, Frightmares. I'm losing it. Jesus. Frightmares podcast. They just did X. So if you want to hear anything about X, I think you should run over there and go ahead and listen.
There
you go. Dinosaurs will always be awesome. Actually, and Yahaira does a quick blurb on Pearl for our Halloween 13 Days of Horror that we did last October. So if you want to see that video, guys, make sure you check that out on Instagram or on the TikTok. Don't forget, Dinosaurs will always be awesome. Lorene Ellis, my mom, hey ma. Kevin Leamy, even though Kevin, you liked that girl's review, I still love you. Vlad Lewis, we have Johnny Miller, Leslie Thurman, and of course our beautiful Cam. We love you. Head on over to Patreon to join the likes of these amazing folks. So with that, thank you, Yahaira, once again for joining us this week. It's so nice to have another woman on the show for a change. Like a woman who agrees with me, Mikey. Sorry, Yahaira, go ahead.
It was really fun to be part of it, so I hope I can be in other episodes too.
Yeah, of course.
Anytime.
It's nice to have another woman on the episode with a higher level of thinking.
Maybe we'll do some live stuff out there with you, while we're doing the midnight Scream, so
Midsummer
that'll be another
yeah,
fun.
yeah.
Scream.
Yeah, because
Midsummer
like
Scream.
I really enjoy it, and I love participating and talking about movies or the aspects of stuff. So that was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's great to have you guys or you on this episode as well because you know, we get to hear all the whole perspective through the Hollywood, you know, point of view. So it was a lot of fun. So with that, I want to say thank you guys for joining us. Goodbye and good die.
Goodbye, don't die.
Bye bye.
Die.
Oh.
And before we hear my whale call, I just want to remind everybody that I will not accept a life I do not deserve.
Mm.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Mm.